And welcome back to America Talks Live. I'm your host, Miranda Khan. President Trump says he wants to send 2,000 to 4,000 National Guard members to the border. They would help federal officials fight illegal immigrants and drug trafficking. However, it's unclear who would be called up or if they would be armed. The president says the guards will be kept at the border until the wall is built. Meanwhile, he's come under harsh fire for criticizing the migrant caravan that was headed towards the southern border.
It came out where this journey coming up, women are raped at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They don't want to mention that.
However, the White House claims President Trump was referring to coyotes or professional human smugglers when he was making that comment. And that's where we want to welcome in a familiar face here on Fridays on America Talks Live. Newsmax contributor and political commentator Clarence McKee joining us now on the set. Clarence is a former Florida chairman of the Association of Broadcasters, and we always appreciate your time.
It's always great to be here.
Good to see you. So you heard what the president had to say. There has been a lot of reactions since the president made that remarks. We were talking about this earlier in the show with Katrina Pearson. In particular, Mexico's former president, Vincent Fox, basically flat out just called the president a liar. But we also mentioned, and I mentioned this at the top of the show, there have been, and this is just one particular article that Sarah Huckabee Sanders reportedly forwarded to various members of the media, but there was a 2014 article from the Huffington Post, and it was entitled 80% of Central American women, girls too, are raped crossing into the U.S. Easy for me to say.
That article was based on a study by Fusion, which came from Amnesty International.
Right.
So, of course they're being done. You don't hear any people worried about these little brown girls getting raped, you see. It's a shame, and he's absolutely right. All the liberals are so quiet about they can rape all they want to girls coming in from Central America. The border is like Swiss cheese. Look at last month, March, 50,000 more illegals came into this country.
Why do you think that was?
200% increase. Well, my gosh.
Why do you think there was a 200% increase?
Well, my gosh, they're trying to get into the...
Is that because the economy is doing better?
Well, the economy, DACA, they see the Democrats are saying, y'all come, the Kamala Harrises and the Democrats in the House and Senate. They think it's open borders for everybody except the president. They'll find out he's very serious. Now when you have the National Guard going to the border, that might cut it back a bit. But 200% increase over last year.
Yeah, and a lot of people have pointed the fact that generally, and you probably have seen this if you've been watching any of the mainstream media outlets, you see these graphics of showing that illegal immigration has actually been on the decline, which is true. But what you just mentioned, it went up 200% in March. And generally speaking, and I'm not a study expert, but usually when the economy is doing poorly, that's when people leave. When it's doing well, that's when they come in.
And then these liberals and Democrats say they're all upset about the opiate crisis, right? Well, look at the drugs coming in with these folks. Crossing the border, heroin, fentanyl, all these things. That all aids to the heroin epidemic or the opiate epidemic. MS-13s. I don't know why these governors, California, Oregon, what is it going to take for these people to see that this impacts them as well? They hate Trump so much that they're willing to have their people get harmed.
All right, we also want to bring into the conversation whistleblower, there I am, whistleblower, attorney, and TV host Mychal Wilson here today. He's a former Obama campaign organizer. As always, good to have you. We were talking about the president's remarks, Mychal. Basically, he came under fire for talking about women being raped crossing the border. But I mentioned an article in 2014 that cited a study that's been known for quite some time that 80% of Central American women, girls, are raped crossing into the U.S. So, I mean, is it fair for Mexico's former president, Vincent Fox, to really point the finger and call the president a liar?
Well, I think so, to the point that he's defending his country and the reputation. But listen, this happens in almost every country. Whether you can go to Europe and Scandinavia, where you have pockets of immigrants, and the no-go zones, as they call it. And there's a lot of crime that occurs there. It happens in Norway, it happens in Sweden, it happens in in France and Germany too, and those other European countries. So I mean, he has a right. I mean, look what Trump said to him. But I do want to add one thing, Clarence and Miranda, about the opioid. So as a whistleblower attorney, I have a case right now against a large pharmaceutical company. Mm-hmm. And, our position is that the big pharma is complicit in the opioid epidemic. It's not just heroin crossing the border. That's the after the fact. That's after people become addicted.
Right.
It's people, it's the prescriptions and the overprescribing of pain medication.
Right, but in fairness, as part of, the Trump administration has mentioned that as part of its plan to kind of tackle the opioid epidemic, and you're right. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Just because we're on this topic, this just came out, so before we talk about the economy real quick, I want to get both of you to react on this, especially you, Clarence, as well. So we're talking about opioids. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the Surgeon General coming out and saying that Americans should carry this medicine because of people overdosing on opioids?
What do you get, 100 million people walking around with little things in the pocket to shoot somebody up with an antidote if they see them drop?
But I mean, if that really gives you, though, an idea of the magnitude.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
See, 100,000 people coming, 100,000 unaccompanied kids coming into this country. Vincenti Fox didn't talk about that. That all adds up to the problem with MS-13. They deal in drugs. Mm-hmm. So the pharmaceuticals are one area, one issue, and very valid that he's going after them. But then this stuff is still coming into the country over the border and hurting people severely. Surgeon General, I don't know where that's going. It's like, who can go buy it? It's like
you don't consider it a big deal.
Medical marijuana. You're going to carry that around for people?
But just the idea that he's, that they're issuing this kind of warning, that was more the reaction that I think, looking for, Mychal. I probably should have been more direct in that question. But this, to me, is like, wow, really? It's gotten to that point.
Yeah, I think it's a little over the top, too, and I agree with Clarence. Look, I mean, that's a lot of money to carry around all those, those anti-opioid medicines. But look, the more important thing here is, yes, heroin's coming over the border, but, a lot of I think you have to start at the base, which is big pharma, physicians overprescribing, and people themselves. Look, what happens is people, they get in a car accident, they take a long-term pain, an opioid, they get addicted, right? It becomes expensive or the prescription runs out. The best thing is heroin, right? So that they move on to that. So, I think that the Surgeon General should be looking at other alternatives than everyone carrying around syringes.
I think both of you can agree on that. We're running out of time, and I do have some other things to get to real quick. We talked about jobs earlier, Katrina Pearson bringing this up, a new job report out. And if you watch some of the mainstream media outlets, you might think that report is actually bad news. After all, when we heard that the U.S. economy added more than 100,000 jobs in March, lower than expected, it kind of gives that impression that something is wrong. But the former head of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Obama actually disagrees. Jason Furman says lack of job growth is actually a sign that we're headed towards full employment.
We've seen job growth of nearly 200,000 jobs a month. Last month was unusually high. Some of that was temporary factors like the construction sector. So I'd expect those to unwind. I think we could see a number like 150,000 this month. And I think if we see a number like that, as long as there's decent wage growth at the same time, we should be perfectly happy with the direction this economy is going.
And we have 2.7 wage growth. We're running out of time, but real quickly, is this a good sign?
It's all a good sign. Lowest unemployment rate in 17 years.
Good sign.
63% labor participation rate. So
all right.
It's on a roll.
All right. What would you say, Mychal?
I think it's a great sign, and I would like to thank former President Obama for really implementing his economic strategy to decrease unemployment. So.
Oh, really?
I have a feeling you guys are going to disagree on that, but we have to go to a commercial break. Clarence, Mychal, don't go away. We'll be back with much more here on America Talks Live. Still to come. Senator Kamala Harris raises some eyebrows over her remarks about President Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Will tell you what she said that has some conservatives really up in arms right after the break. But before that, I'll give you an update on some of the stories that are trending right now on Newsmax.com. You're watching America Talks Live. We'll be right back. Time now to take a look at some of the stories that are trending on Newsmax.com. Ohio Governor John Kasich visits New Hampshire, where he hinted about a possible 2020 presidential run.
It's great to come back because then you get everybody a Twitter, literally, saying, "Oh, he's." I honestly don't know what I'm doing, but all my options are on the table, but I don't know.
Kasich says any decision on running for president would come at least 9 months from now. All right, Ohio Governor John Kasich visiting there. You heard that. Also making headlines today, President Trump tells a radio program that he'll probably skip the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner for the second year in a row. He called the mainstream media, quote, so bad and so fake. But Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, well, she's going to go. She's going to represent the Trump administration instead. And the last survivor of the Parkland school shooting has now been released from the hospital. 15-year-old Anthony Borges was shot several times. He actually used his own body to shield his classmates from bullets during that Valentine's Day massacre where 17 students and staff were killed. For much more on these stories, visit Newsmax.com.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Ouch. California Democratic Senator Kamala Harris, they're joking about killing the president, the vice president, and the attorney general. At least that's how a lot of people took it during a recent interview on the Ellen DeGeneres show. The remark, well, it raised some eyebrows from conservatives, including Fox News' Sean Hannity, who called the comment a, quote, shocking new low. Ellen also asked Senator Harris about her 2020 political ambitions, but Harris, she kind of dodged that question, saying, yeah, it's too early and people have other priorities to worry about right now. Didn't even give us that 9-month timeline. That's where we want to welcome back our political panel. Joining us again, we have Clarence McKee and Mychal Wilson. Thank you both for sticking around. So I'm going to start with you, Mychal. Did Harris go too far?
I'm a great fan. I'm a big fan of hers. I support her. Here's the thing. It was the context it was taken in was a joking atmosphere. You know, it's like, who's your celebrity crush? And this happened. And she didn't say, it wasn't about killing, because she wasn't saying to take one of their lives. So the devil's in the details. However, I think that the Democrats like Ms. Harris really have to set a higher standard, because I think this will come back to haunt her. It's very similar, not as bad, but very similar to the Kathy Griffin issue when she held up President Trump's head. I think she should have said no comment or I plead the fifth. How about that?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, spoken like a true lawyer. You are. There you go. You were shaking your head,
yes,
and
Michael's
you both said
right.
Kathy Griffin at the same time.
Kathy Griffin and her holding up the head. You know, I don't like Kamala Harris politically. She's really, to me, kind of a joke. I write in Newsmax this week that the NAACP has abandoned blacks for illegal aliens. Well, she's done the same thing out there in California. She's abandoned black and white Californians for illegal aliens, as somebody jumped on her at her town meeting last night for. And she's really whistling Dixie if she thinks she's going to get anywhere near the White House.
So how do you really feel, Claire?
After Barack Obama,
yeah,
you're not going to see any more black, liberal Democrats in the White House. After what he did, first of all, blacks will not vote for her because she's black. They got messed over enough by Obama, who did nothing for her. So this stuff about her running for president, she's wasting 2 years of her term placating liberals, forgetting nothing. Just she ought to be, would have got her to be the Attorney General of California and go by the law and quit defending illegals.
All right.
Because you want the votes when you get them over the border.
I want Mychal to weigh in on this because you said a lot there. So first off, let's go to the article that you actually have on our website right now, where you say the NAACP is favoring illegal immigrants
of course.
Over blacks, and you believe Kamala Harris is actually one of the biggest offenders of that, if I'm hearing you correctly. Yeah. Mychal, do you agree with that? I'm guessing no, but want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, that's a great guess there, Miranda. Look, here's the thing. I mean, she's, a politician. And so I think what she's doing, as a senator and advocating for aliens or, immigrants in general is a great thing. But she's had a wonderful track record in prosecuting crimes as our AG. And, she's just moved up the ladder. Now, whether or not she'll get to the White House, kind of agree with Clarence. I think the pendulum swung too far with President Obama. I think it swung too far with President Trump. And I think what you may see in the next election is a coming back towards the middle for America. Because remember, we're all Americans, okay? I think whether you're Democrat or Republican or Libertarian, that's second.
Okay, so maybe an independent. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, Clarence.
There are no more in-the-middle Democrats who are going to run for anything in this country. They're so far on the left. There are no more.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We still got quite a ways. 2020 is, quite a ways off. All right, Clarence, Mychal, stay where you are. Mychal, how are you feeling? You feeling good? We got Real or Fake coming up. You feeling good about this?
We just had an earthquake yesterday, but I'm feeling great.
All right. You might, speaking of shaking things up, we have a little surprise coming up after the break. I'm not going to tell you. You'll just have to watch. All right, it's time now to play one of our favorite games here on America Talks Live, and that's Real or Fake. Here's how it works. I'll read the headline and ask our panelists to weigh in, and then I'll tell you if the headline is real or if it's fake. Pretty simple, right? Well, today we brought in what we're referring to as our wild card. Newsmax host John Cardillo. John, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Fun. Yeah, John will face off against Newsmax, where are we, contributor and resident Real or Fake champion Clarence McKee, along with former Obama campaign organizer and whistleblower attorney Mychal Wilson. All right, guys, you ready? Now, we're going to have to go through this quickly because we have about 5 minutes to get through this. So, Clarence, I feel bad for these guys because you're pretty tough to beat. He is the champ.
Up there now.
Yeah, no pressure. All right, let's take a look at our first headline, shall we? Feds spend $30,000 researching how to teach people how to cook. Real or fake, Mychal?
Fake.
John?
I think real.
Real.
All right, let's take a look at the answer.
Figures.
It is true. Real. The National Institutes of Health gave $30,000 to a conference dedicated to researching the best way to teach people how to cook. According to the federal grant, this will be the first conference co-sponsored by the CIA. All right, now for our next headline. South Koreans are drinking wasp venom liquor. Real or fake, Mychal?
You said South Korean, so I would say that's fake.
You said South Koreans. If it was North Korea, it'd be real?
Yes.
Okay. I can probably see why. Yeah, South Koreans. Well, let's look at the. Why do we show the answer? Did we already show the answer?
Oh, no, go ahead. Ask me. It's true.
No, we can't do that. That's unfair.
I wanted it to be real, so I'm going to go
okay, we're going to have to skip that because we had a little glitch there, Mychal, and it showed the answer. All right, so we're going to go against that. That is true. That is true. So we're going to skip that one. All right, let's take a look at our next headline. Makeup-wearing women are perceived as more competent. Real or fake, Mychal?
Real.
You say real, John. What say you, sir?
How can I say fake with you sitting here? Real.
Thank you.
Fake.
What are you saying? All right, let's take a look at the answer. Yeah, that one is false, at least according to this study from the University of Scotland. Participants were asked to view a series of pictures showing the same woman with or without makeup. Researchers found that people judged heavily made-up women as having poor leadership skills, they're obviously not on TV, than those who have fresh faces.
Terrible survey.
Terrible survey. Waste of money, right? All right, let's take a look at our next headline. Coca-Cola launches avocado, sourdough, and charcoal flavors. Sounds so good, doesn't it? Mychal, real or fake?
That's got to be fake.
You say it's fake. John?
I'm going to say it's fake because it has to be.
True.
You're going to say true.
Yes.
All right. He says it's real. Let's take a look at the answer.
I missed one.
What? Our champ? No, that one was actually.
Here we go.
That was actually an April Fool's joke. But yeah, it was pretty fairly convincing. The outlet that actually published the fake news claimed that Coca-Cola was using the 3 new flavors to try to capture the taste buds of the so-called Instagram generation, whatever that may be.
They do eat Tide Pods. So.
Yeah. I don't get that one. I really don't. I really thought that was a fake story. All right, let's take a look at our final headline. All right. Disney to build resort in Toronto Island. Is it real or fake, Mychal?
Toronto Island Resort. Fake.
He says fake. John?
I think real. They're pretty nice islands.
Yeah? Well, you do some work in Canada, right? Yeah. Okay. What do you think?
Fake.
Fake? All right. Let's see the answer. Fake. Oh. Fake it is. John.
I'm the new kid. I know it was going to be poorly.
They're not going to invite you back into Canada. What's going on?
Where is it, though?
Yeah, this one is fake. It was also an April Fool's joke. A website dedicated to local Canadian news reported the story. It claimed that Toronto Disneyland would cost about $6.5 billion and that it would be built on the Toronto Islands, just south of the mainland. But the story was labeled, yep, an April Fool's Day prank, much to due to the disappointment of Canadians who thought that they might actually be getting their own Disneyland. Maybe they will now. Who knows? All right, so who's the winner today? Is it? It's Clarence again?
Clarence again.
Coca-Cola messed me up, didn't it?
Yeah, but you're the winner again. How many times have you won?
I don't know.
I know.
Hey, Clarence. Well, Miranda, I'm closing the gap. I'm taking him down next time.
Yeah, say that. All right. What about you, John?
I don't know if I'm going to come back after embarrassing myself like this.
We scared you that bad?
I'll be back.
You'll be back? All right. Yeah, I thought this was kind of an interesting mix. Hopefully next time we don't reveal the answers, but but you still won. You still won, Clarence. Congratulations.
Seagram's would be the one that was going to do the avocado drinks. Should have said false. Cool.
You want to do one more for just fun? Okay, my producer says we have one more. All right, real quickly.
This doesn't count, though, right?
This doesn't count. This is just for fun. But here's a headline. Wisconsin voter wants to bring ducks to election. Real or fake? Real quickly, Michael?
Fake.
John?
Real.
True.
The answer? He's good. He's good, right?
Service duck, huh?
He's good. According to ABC News, a voter in a very tiny Wisconsin town wants to bring ducks to the polling station. She also wants to bring a sign that says, if you don't vote, you can't squawk. Get it? Yeah, I don't think that would work everywhere, but maybe there. The State Elections Commission okayed it. Said it was a little bizarre, but okayed it. All right, guys. Thanks so much. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Take care, Michael. See you soon. Huh?
John's like, thanks for nothing. Have a great weekend, guys.